And when it comes to building a house, it's fun, it's exciting, but it can be an absolute disaster. That's why in this episode, I'm going to show and share with you everything you need to know when it comes to building your next house. Floor plans, how to pick contractors, what colors to choose, all of that right here, right now. Now, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to my channel. My name is Wayne Turner. For nearly 30 years, I've done everything when it comes to real estate. Buying, flipping, selling, building, you name it, we've done just about everything. So we share with you in these videos exactly what to do and most importantly, what not to do when it comes to real estate. Now look, stick with me and take some notes. I'm going to show you some simple nuances that you'll definitely want to look at and do when it comes to actually building the house. The location, of course, is more important, but you also have to make sure that you can build what you want to build. You got to make sure that the covenants, the restrictions, the deed restrictions, if they say you can't build a 1,500 square foot house, then you can't build a 1,500 square foot house. If they say you can't have a wood fence, you can't have a wood fence. So you have to make the selection when it comes to picking that land. Do you want to be in a neighborhood or not a neighborhood? Are you okay with being in an HOA? Because an HOA is going to tell you what type of fence, where you can put your pool, where your setback lines, all of that stuff. It's just simple things that you need to know when it comes to building a home. Now, the first part and one of the most important parts is money. You got to have money. If you got cash in the bank, that's great. That's one thing. But a lot of people come to me and say, Wayne, how do I get money to actually build a house? I always suggest to people, get with your local credit union, your local bank. They can do what they call a construction perm loan. Now, it has a lot to do with whether or not you're hiring a contractor to build the house or you're acting as your own contractor. You can build your own home and act as your own contractor. You'll just have to let the banks know. However, some banks frown upon you being your own contractor. And look, it's not just the banks. There's a lot of states that will not allow you to build your own house. So you have to check with your local state, city, county, parish, and make sure that you can act and be your own contractor to build your own personal home. And no, you do not have to have a contractor's license to build your own home if you're in a state that permits you to build your own home. Now, the money thing is really simple. You have to be able to repay the money, of course, but the simplest form is to do what they call a construction perm loan. You do a construction loan to build the house, and then that rolls into permanent financing. Once the home is complete, they appraise the house before you build it, they appraise it after you build it. Once it's completed, they'll give you a 15 or a 30-year loan, just as though you were purchasing that house that you just built, like a pre-existing home. Now, once you got the money lined up, you got to find that location. And when it comes to location, whether or not you're going to build on your own land, you bought some land, you're selecting a lot within a subdivision, you have to look at not just the location, you have to look at what school district is it in. A lot of people say, well, Wayne, I don't have kids, I'm not worried about that. Or I only have grandkids, I'm not worried about that. You always have to think of resale when it comes to building your next house. And look, the other thing you'll want to make note of is the flood zone. Is it in a flood zone? A lot of people say, Wayne, I'm not living or moving in a flood zone, but a lot of states, 25 as a matter of fact, border the ocean. So there's a lot more properties in flood zones than you actually realize. And that's just something that you want to be conscious of to make sure if it's in a flood zone, what is the flood insurance going to cost you after the home is built? Contractors and subcontractors, the best thing you'll want to do is ask for references, right? It's pretty simple. Who did you build a home for? Can I go talk to them, right? And they'll actually allow you to go look at houses and go into those houses. But here's the next thing you'll want to do. Ask subcontractors. Ask around. Go to neighborhoods. Go to job sites. Ask those framers, those guys pouring that slab, grading that lot, putting that electrical, that plumbing. They will sing like a canary. They will tell you who's good and who's not good, who pays on time, who pays, and who doesn't pay. And look, if a contractor, subcontractor shows up and all their paperwork is in the dashboard of their truck, just tell them no thank you. When it comes to building a house, you have to be structured, systematized, and most importantly, incredibly organized to be a good contractor. There's a lot of nuances that go in and a lot of time frames have to be hit. And the last thing you'll want to do is to hire someone that's just a jumbled mess. And look, here's a really quick, simple tip when it comes to hiring contractors and building your house. There's a lot of selections, and a good contractor is going to give you a list of those selections. They're going to tell you how many rooms you got to pick light fixtures for, plumbing fixtures, all of that stuff, right? If you can have that in order, a good contractor is going to tell you, This is what you have to do. This is what you have to select. These are the colors that you have to select. So many people say, well, Wayne, it took a year to build my house. Well, did you have your selections in order? You have to have those selections in order. Having those selections in order is a game changer. The other thing is you have to be patient when it comes to building a house. If you drive by the job site and it's a little overcast day like today and there's no subcontractors around and you think they should be working, that's on you. You just have to know that if that contractor told you 6 months, and they have a good track record of actually building and completing houses within 6 months. Just be patient and keep your eye on the price. Keep your eye on the deadline, not so much as the simple days, because it will absolutely stress you out if you do not keep your eye on that 6-month completion date. Now look, in the main bedroom, you'll want to put what I call some sexy features. It's some nice things. You're going to spend a lot of time in here, so always do double windows, tray ceilings, triple tray ceilings, can lights. For the bathroom, you'll want to do at least a 5-piece bathroom. Here's what I mean by that. You'll want to have a water closet. That's where the commode's going to go. You always want a separate door for that. You'll want to put in a tub. I don't care if you don't take tubs, don't take baths, put in a tub. Stand-up shower and double vanities. You'll want a vanity here and a vanity here. It's just good for the marriage, good for the relationship, and have a big walk-in closet. Now you got to see this. This is my favorite feature of the house, and a lot of people think the same way. That's a doorway. I'm standing in the main bathroom. I'm about to walk you through the utility room. That's right. And listen, always do a large utility room. You'll want to make sure the utility room is large enough where you're not tripping over clothes baskets or anything like that. That normally would be just a wall. This builder, Van Construction, they do a fantastic job. They actually put a door casing there. So now you can access your utility room from your main bathroom. You can also access this. There's the garage. Here's the room, if you will. When you came through the garage, there's a utility room. Always do lots of closets. And listen, when it comes to your kitchen, be sure you have those cabinets pre-wired so you can flip a switch and have under cabinet lighting. That's just a simple, subtle nuance that gives such class to your house. Now hang in there with me. There's 2 more on the inside, then we're going to hit the outside, then we're going to talk about some building materials. One of the things you'll want to do is always put a fireplace. But make sure the fireplace is not a ventless fireplace. That means you can't vent it to the outside. You'll want to make sure there's a fireplace flue that will allow you to burn wood as well as a gas fireplace insert, the gas logs, right? Now, you heard me talk about basement homes, slab homes, crawl space homes. If you're going to do a basement home, have the contractor run conduit. This is conduit. That means there's piping in the concrete slab. This allows for the electrician to run electricity, wires if you will, through the conduit. That way you can have an electrical receptacle in the floor. Now outside features, and I'm a big stickler when it comes to this, put a covered back porch, right? On this covered back porch, have the contractor wire it for a TV. You want to make sure if it's a covered back porch, wire it for a TV. This contractor went a little bit further and he actually put a gas line. There's a gas line, so you have a gas grill. Also, it's plumbed for a sink. So if anybody wants to do anything out here, that's also an electrical receptacle. If you want to put an outside refrigerator, ice maker, you can do that. You've got a sink, you've got gas, you've got TV. And listen, not just there, when in doubt, it's so inexpensive to put electrical receptacles everywhere. When in doubt, put those electrical receptacles everywhere so you can actually sit out here and entertain. You never know when you or someone that's going to come along and purchase the house from you may want to put in a pool, and this outdoor feature is a huge hit. Now, in addition to the brick and the stucco and the hardy board, you'll want to put in a really good window in your house. I promise you, you will not regret this. It holds down the noise from the outside of the house. It's a great insulator, and it helps with your utility bills. You can't go wrong putting good windows in a home. So look, building a home can be fun, it can be stressful, but I promise you it'll be worth it in the end. The little things, the little tips like insulating your utility room. It's funny how no one likes to hear the washing machine running, yet no one tends to ever insulate their utility rooms. Insulate your utility rooms. And when it comes to electrical receptacles, always put as many as you can, especially on the outside of the house. Most people want to put Christmas decorations, yet there's only one electrical receptacle on the outside of the house. So these are just a lot of the tips that I've personally experienced over the years, 30 years in real estate. My name's Wayne Turner. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, WayneTurnerTV.com. Give us a thumbs up and let us know if you like this video.